Hello, this is Terry Norrington from Kuunganisha Ministries, and we continue our look at the Gospel of John, chapter 2. And today we're looking at verses 6 to 12. Jesus turns water into wine. So nearby stood 6 water jars, the kind used by the Jews for ceremonial washing, each holding from 20 to 30 gallons. Jesus said to the servants, "Fill the jars with water." So they filled them to the brim. Then he told them, "Now draw some out and take it to the master of the banquet." They did so, and the master of the banquet tasted the water that had been turned into wine. He did not realize where it had come from, though the servants who had drawn the water, they knew. Then he called the bridegroom aside and said, "Everyone brings out the choice wine first, and then the cheaper wine after the guests have had too much to drink. But you have saved the best till now." What Jesus did here in Cana of Galilee was the first of the signs through which he revealed his glory, and his disciples believed in him. After this, he went down to Capernaum with his mother and brothers and his disciples. There they stayed for a few days. So this is the first miracle of Jesus that we are made aware of by John, the Gospel writer. We have commented before about the differences between the Synoptic Gospels and that of John's Gospel. In Luke chapter 5, we see that Jesus enables Peter to catch an inordinate amount of fish, and upon that he calls Peter to join him. Now here in John chapter 2, we see Jesus at the wedding in Cana with his disciples, which would have included Peter. This is unlikely to have been Jesus' first miracle, but it is likely to be the most public one. The catching of the huge amount of fish would have been for Peter and the other disciples' eyes only, in order to convince them to follow Jesus and become his disciples. Jesus said to the servants to fill the 6 jars that stood nearby. These jars were used for ceremonial washing and would hold 20 to 30 gallons each. This would have been time-consuming and hard work, as it would have involved many trips to the well to fill these stone jars up to the brim. But for us too, following Jesus' instructions will be time-consuming and at times hard work. Indeed, following Jesus is a lifetime commitment. Are we prepared to put in the time and the effort? And we see that when water has become wine, the wine is of a better quality than the original. The master of the banquet is impressed. He is impressed that the bridegroom had saved the best one until last. To follow Jesus can be hard, and it might seem that our wine has run out too. We can be at our lowest ebb with no sign that there is an end to our troubles. In the story of Job from the book of Job, we see how he is at his lowest point, but eventually, because he doesn't denounce God, God restores his fortunes plus more. The story here of Jesus turning water into wine shows us that if we turn to Jesus, even when we are at our lowest, our fortunes can be restored and we can have greater things.